Hi students, welcome to English class. Today's topic, the speech of Chief Seattle, part 3. The previous class we have discussed Chief Seattle expressing his opinion regarding partiality shown by the God of Whites to the Red Indians. According to Chief Seattle, God of Whites is interested only in the welfare of whites, and thus the Red Indians have become orphans in their land. So we learn more about it today. They seem to be orphans and can look nowhere for help. Who is they mentioned here? It is Red Indians or the Native Americans, because the white gods is giving importance only for the benefit or the welfare of whites. They, that is Red Indians, have become orphans and can look nowhere for help, and they are not in a possibility to get assistance or help from anywhere. How then can we become brothers? So he is asking if the situation is so. If they are not able to get help from anywhere, then, or if they are treated in a different manner compared to that of the whites, then how can they be brothers? How can your father become our father and bring us prosperity and awaken in us the dreams of returning greatness? If your father is interested only in the welfare of whites, how then can we become brothers? How can your father means the father of the whites, how can your father become our father and bring us prosperity and awaken in us the dreams of returning greatness? How can your father become our father and bring us prosperity and awaken in us the dreams of returning greatness? Returning greatness means of returning glory. That is, he is telling that your father, because the God of whites is looking only for the welfare of whites, the whites God can never bring in us the hope of returning glory. Your God seems to us to be partial, because your God is looking only after the white children. To us, he seems to be a very partial God. Your God seems to us to be partial, because he is looking only for the welfare of whites. That is why the Red Indians consider or feel as God of feeling that the God of whites is a very partial God. He came to the white men. So he is telling your God came only for the sake of white man. We never saw him. Though he came to this land to look after your people, that is whites, we never saw him. Even though we were residing along with you in the same land, we never saw him. Him here refers to the God of whites. Never even heard his voice. And moreover, we never heard his voice too. We never heard the voice of your God. He came to white men. We never saw him. Never even heard his voice. He gave the white men laws, but he had no word for his red children, whose teeming multitude filled this vast continent as the stars fill the firmament. He gave the white men laws, that is the God of whites. When the God of whites came to this land, he gave the white men laws. He gave white men various rules and laws to live. But he had no words for his red children. But he didn't mind the red children at all. There was no word or no rules given to the red children by the God of whites, whose teeming multitude filled the vast continent as the stars fill the firmament. Though there were millions of red children there, whose teeming multitude, though there were plenty of red children over there, and it was their population which filled the continent, which has filled that land, just like the stars fill the firmament. He compares the population of red children then like the stars which fill the firmament. Firmament means sky. No, we are two distinct races. So he is finally concluding, because your God gave importance only for your people, because your God did not mind the red children. We can never live together. We can never be considered as brothers. So, no, we are two distinct races. No doubt, we belong to two distinct races and must ever be. And till our death, we should continue in the same manner. We can never live like brothers. We should forever live like different race people, two distinct races. There is little in common between us. So he is finally concluding, there is nothing in common between us. We can never live like brothers. So in the next paragraph, he is discussing about the basic difference between how the Red Indians and the Whites treat the ancestors. That is the basic difference between how the Red Indians and the Whites treats the ancestors. The ashes of our ancestors are sacred and their final resting place is hallowed ground, while you wander away from the tombs of your father seemingly without regret. So the first difference is that how the Red and the Whites treats the ancestors is the ashes of our ancestors. That is once the person in a family who have lived a long time with them died. They are called as ancestors. That is a person in a family who lived a long time ago. That is once who was a member of their family. Once the ashes of our ancestors, that is the ancestors being ancestors, they had died a long time ago. But for the Red Indians, even the ashes of such a person who had died long time ago is a sacred one. It is still a sacred one. And their resting place and where they are buried. Resting place means the place where they are buried is hallowed ground. It is again a sacred ground for us. While you wander away from the tombs of your fathers seemingly without any regret. But your case, it's different. Whereas you people, once you don't mind the people or your ancestors who have died some years ago. You just wander away. Wander away means you move away from the tombs of your father. Tombs means where they are buried. From the tombs of your fathers. That is, you don't have the habit of visiting the tombs of your ancestors like the Red Indians do. Seemingly without regret. That too without any regret or without any forethought or without any sort of attachment, a mental attachment to their tomb. Your religion is written on the tablets of stone. Now, in the next line, that is over here what we are going to discuss is why the religion of Reds and the Whites is different. Red Indians and the Whites is different. So the basic difference is that the religion of Whites, that is your religion, is written on the tablets of stone by the iron fingers of your God. One of the things what is said about the religion of Whites is that your religion, that is the religion of Whites, was written on the tablets of stone. That is, it is said that the religion of Whites is written on the tablets of stone, which is brought down from Mount Sinai by Moses. It is believed that the religion of Whites is written on the tablets of stone brought by Moses from the Mount Sinai. That is why it's mentioned as it is written on the tablets of stone by the iron fingers of God. And whatever Moses wrote on the tablets of stone was the word of God. That is why it's said to be the words, being the words of God, it is said that it is written by God, by the iron fingers of God. It is written by the strong fingers of your God. Iron fingers means strong fingers. It is not angry God, it is of your God. It is a slight printing mistake, lest you might forget it. So according to Red Indians, what the Red Indians says about is that it is written on the tablet of stone for you to learn and for you to remember. Otherwise, you might forget it. That is your way of life. Otherwise, you will forget it. The red man could never remember nor comprehend it. So he is telling, since your religion, but for us, we could never remember or comprehend what was written on that stone tablet. Now, he is telling about the religion of Red Indians. Our religion is a tradition of our ancestors. So, he is telling, but our religion is different. It is the tradition of our ancestors. It is the tradition or it is the rules and regulations followed by or the way of life followed by our ancestors. The dreams of our old men And also we give much importance for the dreams of our ancestors or the old men. So the words, their yearnings, their dreams became our religion. We are the one who give much importance for our ancestors, who love our ancestors a lot. So we gave importance for the dream of our old men and also the tradition followed by ancestors, which was given them by the Great Spirit. And how these ancestors and the old men got these dreams and tradition is in accordance with what they have learned by the Great Spirit, by their forefathers, or whom they consider as their God itself. For them, their chief or the words of their chief or their forefather is just like the words of God. They value their elders a lot, and the visions and also the visions sessions. So it is also the visions of their sachems. Sachems means the forefathers or the chief of the Red Indians. From the sachems, and is written in the hearts of people. And whatever was a dream of their forefathers, of their ancestors, it is all written in the hearts of their people. They have considered it, they have taken it so seriously, so it is always etched in the hearts of each and every person. Your dead cease to love you and the hope of your nativity as soon as they pass the portals of storm. So the next basic difference between the Red Indians and the whites. That is, once the dead whites die, they don't have the habit of returning back to the land in order to see the people. That is what is discussed here. Your dead cease means stop to love you. They stop loving you once they die. And the homes of nativity, they not only stop loving you, but also they stop loving their homes or their place as soon as they pass the portals of Tom. Portals of Tom means the gateway of life. That is, once they are buried, they stop coming to this land to see you as well as the world, or as well as the area, or as well as the place where they have lived. They wander far off beyond the stars. So what is said about the dead ones of the whites is that once they die, they wander far beyond the stars. No one can find them because they wander far off beyond the stars, are soon forgotten. As a result, the people forget them and never return, and they never return to. So that is said about the dead whites. Next one, what is the difference between the way followed by the dead Red Indians? Our dead never forget the beautiful world that gave them being, but our dead people, they are not so. They are not able to forget the beautiful world, this great world or this beautiful nature that gave them being, that has once given them life. They still love its winding rivers, its great mountains, sequestered vales, and they ever yearn in tenderest affection over the lonely-hearted living and often return to visit and comfort them. So, our dead can never forget the beautiful world. What they love the most in this beautiful world, in the world which they had lived once, is the winding rivers. They are the great lovers of nature. The Red Indians are the great lovers of nature who gave much importance for the wholesome development of the ecosystem in their area. So, they love the winding rivers, they love the great mountains, and also the sequestered valleys. Sequestered valleys means secluded valleys. And they ever yearn, they always yearn means they long, they wish, in the tenderest affection, in fond memories over the lonely-hearted living. They always yearn to visit this land and often return to visit and comfort them. They always think about those lonely-hearted living, those people who are still living on this, in their place, and they often return to visit and comfort them. As a result, the dead cannot stay in the tomb or in the burial ground throughout. They quite often visit and comfort them. So finally, Red Chief, that is the Chief Seattle, is telling, day and night cannot dwell together. It's very sure that day and night can never live together. That is, if you are there, if whites are there, Red Indians cannot exist there. Because if whites are there, the red Indians, it's compared with night. Just like when the day comes, the night vanishes. Similarly, day and night cannot live together. That is, whites and the red Indians cannot live together. The red man has ever fled the approach of the white men. So he's telling it is the rule of nature. When the white men came, the red man has fled away. They have moved away by the approach of the white men. As the changing mist on the mountainside flee before the blazing sun. And he compares this vanishing of red Indians from their land by the arrival of whites with the mist which vanishes from the mountainside by the coming of the blazing sun. When the sun appears, mist vanishes from the mountainside. Similarly, when the white men came, the red man started fleeing away or moving away from that continent. However, your proposition seems a just one, and I think my folks will accept it and will retire to the reservation you offer them, and we will dwell apart in peace, for the words of the great white chief seem to be the voice of nature speaking to my people out of thick darkness that is fast gathering around them like a dense fog floating inward from the midnight sea. So, he's telling, however, your proposition means your conditions laid by you, seems a just one. It seems to be a very just one, seems to be full of justice. And I think my folks will accept it because it is a good one. I hope or I think that my folks here stands for the red Indians. They will accept the offer which is made by you. They will accept the conditions which put forward by you and will retire. And if they are accepting the condition, then it will be in the form of the red Indians leaving the main land of that continent and retiring to the reservation or the areas which is already given to them, which is already made for them by the whites. So he's telling they will accept the offer and will retire. Retire means will withdraw to the reservation. To the reservation means to the area which is reserved by you. And we will dwell apart in peace. And after that, we will live in the same land. But we will not live together. We will dwell apart. We will stay in two different zones in peace. You will not disturb us as per the condition. Moreover, we will not come and disturb you. So we will be dwelling in peace, for the words of great white chief seems to be the voice of nature speaking to my people out of thick darkness, and that is fast gathering around them like a dense fog floating from the midnight sea. For the words of the white chief, so he is telling, most probably my people will accept the offer, will move to the reserved area which you have already provided to them, and we will be dwelling apart in peace. We will live in the same place, but we will dwell apart in two different zones in peace. For the words of the white chief seems to be the voice of nature, because for us now the words of the white chief is just like the voice of nature. It is just like the voice of nature. That is, for them nature is God. It is just like the voice of God speaking to my people out of thick darkness. In this hopeless day, your word, the word of your chief, is just like the voice of God speaking to our people. Students, you can avoid the remaining lines because it is not there in your textbook. The lines which I have striked, you need not learn. Next paragraph. It matters but little where we pass the remainder of our days. He is continuing the speech. It matters very little. Matters very little means it doesn't matter much where we pass the remainder of our days, where we are going to live the remaining number of days. They are not many. They here stands for those days. That is, the remaining number of days, I am sure it is not many. We will meet our destruction, or we will meet our end very soon. The Indian night promises to be dark. He is telling what is going to be the type of Indian night, whether it is going to be a very promising one or whether it is going to be an hopeless one. The Indian night promises to be dark. It is going to be a very hopeless one. No bright stars over above the horizon, because no bright stars, stars here stands for hope. No bright hope could be found about the horizon. There is no bright hope seen anywhere on the horizon for us. Sad voice winds moan in the distance, and the only thing which the Red Indians can hear everywhere is sad voice winds. It is winds coming in or singing sad songs, or giving a prediction about what is going to be their future, foretelling about their bad future. Some grim nemesis of our race is on the red man's tree. Some grim nemesis. Nemesis means bad fate. Some bad fate of a race is on the red man's trail, is following the red man. Red man's trail means following the red man. And wherever he goes, he will still hear the sure approaching footstep. And there is no escape for red man from this grim fate, from this bad fate. Wherever he goes to hide himself from this bad fate, it is sure that he will still hear the sure approaching footstep of the fell destroyer. It is not going to help him. Even then, he will hear the approaching footstep. He will be hearing the approaching footstep of the fell destroyer. Fell destroyer means terrible destroyer. And prepare to meet his doom. And definitely, he will have to meet his destruction. As does the wounded doe that hears the approaching footstep of the hunter. So the plight of the red man now is just like a wounded doe who is about to be caught by the hunter, who hears the footstep of the hunter. When he hears the footstep of hunter, it's very sure, because he is wounded. There is no way of escaping. So definitely he will be killed by the hunter. Same is the plight of the red Indians now. Wherever they go to hide themselves, definitely their destroyer will come and make their doom and destroy them. And also they are prepared to meet the doom. And they are very sure about it, so they are not very upset. They are willing to face their doom without being upset a lot. So the remaining part we will continue in the next class. Till then, goodbye.